if you are still in the trying phase and you are using the word trying in your vocabulary, whether it is I'm trying to manifest my dream life, I'm trying to become my ideal version of myself, then this video is for you. And let me start right away by saying that if you're still using this word, you are kind of dispowering your own self and your own abilities and capabilities, okay? Because let me just compare those two sentences. I am trying to become my ideal self versus I am becoming my ideal self, right? Even the energy of that sentence is completely different. It is completely different reality. It is completely different empowerment that you give to yourself when you stop using these nonsense words in a way, right? When you put trying into your mind, into your understanding, into your perception of reality, you are always placing yourself away from the thing that you are trying to become, right? Because the word trying requires effort, right? So let's say you are here and you are trying to become this someone. You are trying to do something. You are trying to learn something. You are trying to change your reality. You are trying to do things differently. This is putting you energetically away, further away from the very thing that you are trying to get, right? Because there is this gap, the effort is needed, and the effort is actually separating you from that very thing when you are putting in the sentence. When you say I am becoming, you already are on the way, right? You are on the same level, let's say, as that thing. That's you and that's the thing. When it comes to the energetic frequency, a way of looking at things. So you already assume that you are becoming that very thing because you are actually saying to your subconscious mind, I am becoming. Like I was saying in the previous videos, like I'm saying in all the videos, your subconscious only understands the present tense, the now. It only lives in the now. It doesn't matter if something happened to you in the past, doesn't matter if it was yesterday, doesn't matter if it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It assumes that as now. Okay, so whatever is wired in your subconscious mind is gonna be playing out. It's gonna be literally reflecting your reality as you go. That's why it is important not to say this word. It might sound really silly actually for some people. But if you put that in your subconscious, I am trying, you will always be trying, right? Because the subconscious is always in the present. It doesn't know that it will change tomorrow or anything like that. It is always in the present. So it's always gonna be assuming and projecting to you the effort of you trying to do so, right? And I can tell you right now that I have been many times in the situations where I was intentionally, unintentionally programming myself for placing myself further away from the desire that I wanted to have or become or be, because I was using these words such as should, could, would, trying. So all these words were kind of stopping me from actually assuming that I am already there, that I am one with the reality, that I am at one frequency with the reality, that I am on one level of the reality that I want to actually manifest, that I want to actually live out, that I want to perceive, all in all, right? So if you're familiar with the work of Neville Goddard, he often talks about this assuming the reality as you want it to be, okay? So you already assume the things that you want to happen to you or to come to you, you assume them as already here, as already happened. So that is what we are basically doing. We need to be able to assume these things to already kind of be here, to kind of brainwash ourselves of doing the thing before the reality can catch up on us, doing the thing before the reality actually reflects that, right? That's how you bend the reality. That's how you change the timelines. That's how you become your ideal version. Because you kind of trick yourself into doing that before the reality changes, and that's how you change it, right? So it is all about those moments in time when you think like, okay, I'm not ready yet. I need to do this. Your mind is going to come up with all these excuses of what you need to do before you're going to be ready to do that, trying to become something, trying to achieve something, while you are here still separating yourself in time and space from the very thing. Instead of saying, I'm trying to do that, I am doing it, right? And by saying I'm doing it, you are literally gonna kind of force your subconscious to get you to do those things, because you're gonna be repeating it so many times that the subconscious doesn't have any other option than to bring those experiences, then brings those feelings into your reality right now, because that's how it works, right? So I want you to stop trying to do anything, okay? Just drop that completely. And I don't care if you're gonna feel crazy for a day or two or a week or a month. Just stop using the word trying. And whenever you catch yourself using it, replace it with something else, okay? Replace it in a present tense. I am already this. I do this. I am on my way to do this. Even if you don't feel like, okay, this might be too much if I say I am this, if I don't feel like I am it, that you can say I am becoming. Even that is better than trying, because trying is such a low frequency word of separation, okay? So we are done with trying. We are just assuming that things are happening in our favor. We are assuming that the subconscious mind is listening, which is, but we are assuming that things are gonna happen and support us in the way that we want the reality to be. That's how we're gonna do that, okay? And the thing is, when we are talking about being ready, this is such a myth. I'm sure you heard it before, that we are never gonna feel completely 100% ready, okay? Because our mind is always gonna take the worst case scenario. It's always gonna assume that we are not 100% prepared, that we are not 100% ready, that there is something else that we need to get, achieve, do, and be before we get to the next level, because the mind is operating from this analytical problem solving way, okay? The mind is solving the problems for us. And when you present it with a problem, it's gonna try to find solution, but sometimes the solution is not gonna be in your favor, because it's gonna be doing it from the analytical side of things. When we want to do it from the other side of things, of the feelings, of evoking the feelings in you, evoking the energy of the thing, of the reality already assumed, already lived. And that's how you're gonna get there. That's how you're gonna collapse the time. That's how you're gonna appear there. Have you ever been in a situation where you just kind of really desired something, and then you completely let go of it because you were busy with other things, you were putting on energy in something else, you were not frantic about the way that this is going to come to you, you completely let it go, right? Unintentionally. And then out of a sudden you got it. It came to you without any effort, without any kind of trying, without any kind of getting there, without any of those things. Why does that happen? Because it is really simple, actually. The formula is we get really clear on what we want. We get really clear on the desire. Then we get excited about it, okay? You visualize it, you imagine it, you have to feel it, you imagine yourself in that situation. It's very exciting. You have to feel it, you have to be excited about it. And then if you get busy with other things, if you put your mind on something else, you naturally kind of let go of that, right? Because you have too many things to focus on. You don't have time ruminating. When it's gonna come? Is it gonna come? Is it gonna happen? Because you are too busy with other things, you don't even pay any attention. That's when it comes, because you detach yourself literally from that desire, from that goal, and you mind your own business, other things. And that's when it comes to you, okay? So this is the most effortless thing, but I know how frustrated it can get when you literally want that very thing and you are very focused on that. You're trying to detach yourself, you are excited, you visualize, get all those things done. And then the detachment is the problem because you don't have any other things going, let's say, for in your life, or you really want that very thing, and you cannot leave that thing. Even if you try to get yourself busy with other things, you always think about that in the back of your hand. You're always expecting, you're always waiting, you're always calculating, you are always in the waiting, in the trying, in the anticipation, that you didn't fully detach yourself from that desire, right? And that's when it gets delayed, because by the laws of the universe, you need to detach yourself from it for it to be able to find you, for it to be able to come to you, for it to be able to be magnetized to you, right? So really, it is about stopping controlling every single moment, every single thing that's happening in your life, and really, truly letting go and detaching from those things. And it will help you when you start using different language, like this trying, this should, could, would, all of these things. You just change your energetic state, you change your inner perception, and you let these things come to you. You do not force them. You are very clear on what you want. You communicate that, you feel that, you visualize that, you do all those things, but then you need to detach yourself. And that's the very important thing where many of us get it wrong. And I am not immune to that. I have been in many situations where I was kind of latching onto something very, very much when I want this very stubbornly, wanted something, and then it was kind of pushing away from me because I was kind of chasing it. I was going from the energy of chasing. When we know how that works, the desire then gets further away from us, because naturally, if we are chasing something, that something is going to run away from us. So it is really about changing that very energy that you approach the thing with, that very intention that you approach your daily life with, that very language that you are communicating with others what you are doing, or doesn't even have to be with others, but with yourself, and mostly with the subconscious mind, okay? Because like I said, the subconscious is always listening 24/7, and it is always actually conspiring in our favor, okay? But we need to be able how to communicate with the subconscious mind, because the subconscious is always, always, always trying to protect us. It is always trying to get us back to the safety. And that's why you need to be intentional about what you program there and how you go about it, to make sure that it is safe. Okay, your desires are safe. Your big goals need to be safe. All of the things that you really want need to feel safe to your subconscious mind, to your nervous system. It goes hand in hand, right? So that is the work, that is the inner work. And until something clicks for you, it might sound all a bit woo-woo, let's say, but once you find yourself in a situation where these things are playing out for you, you will be able to track it down, and you will be able to follow these simple rules. And there is another thing that I want to talk about, and that is, don't be afraid if you find yourself in a negative headspace. Don't be afraid if you have negative thoughts, if you have negativity showing up for you in your life, because there is certain periods of time, especially if you are doing this inner work and you're working yourself and you are achieving your next level and you are changing your reality, when it comes to down to this purge time, let's say, when you need to let go of everything that is holding you back, and you need to let these things kind of come to the surface to uncover where you are still holding back, where you are still not in your power, and what cannot come with you to the next level. What doesn't serve you anymore, okay? So there is this notion that if you think negatively, or if you think negative thoughts, that you immediately gonna manifest everything in your life and everything is gonna go really badly, and etc, etc. And that's not true. I was saying that in my other video as well, that it is not about your thoughts actually, because we have so many thoughts during the day, they keep flowing, right? Sometimes when I'm sitting down in the meditation and I'm trying to silence my mind or calm me down, I'm just amused by so many things that are showing up in my brain. And often, this is a funny thing, I don't know if it happens to you anytime, but share that in the comments if it ever happened to you when you are trying to meditate or when you are trying to kind of quiet your mind. There is some song playing in the background for me personally, and it's really funny for me because I actually this morning I caught myself in this situation. I was meditating and finally I'm like kind of getting rid of this monkey chatter of all the things that are floating around my head, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, finally I'm kind of calming this down, and then I hear this song in the back of my mind. It just made me laugh because it was a hilarious moment in time for me. And I don't know if that happens to anyone else. I would love to hear from you. But like I was saying, it is not about the negative thoughts. It's not the point to wipe all the negativity from our life, because we are living in a world that is duality, right? We have to have both spectrums of the whole, which is the negative and the positive. We cannot be only on the one spectrum in the whole life, right? It is the whole picture. You cannot ignore the other. So when you are trying to change, when you are changing your subconscious mind, you only need to be aware actually of what your beliefs are, because your subconscious mind is driven by your beliefs. It is not by all those thoughts that are floating around, that are affirmed or anything like that. It is about your innate beliefs, okay? That's why if someone is affirming all day long, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire, I am rich, all those things, but their inner belief is that I'm not worthy of money, I'm not worthy of wealth, then you're not going to be able to create the wealth, because your belief with what you're trying to affirm is very conflicting, and you need to get it on board, you need to get it on the line, you need to rewrite those negative beliefs and put them into something more positive, into something more beneficial, into something that you are becoming, right? That you are working on. That's the whole point, right? Don't get freaked out if you have negative thoughts. Don't get freaked out if you get negative emotions. The worst thing you can do is to numb those emotions down. Because anything that you try to numb down is going to resurface, and it's going to come with much more power, because it's coming back again and again. Maybe after many tries, you've been numbing it, and then it needs to explode, right? It is like the lava under the volcano. It is bubbling, 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 and then one day it will just erupt, because you didn't give it space before to express itself. You didn't give it space before to move through you. You didn't give it space before to just exist, right? Because if you're sad and you're gonna be saying to yourself, no, I'm happy, I'm really happy, I'm really happy, you're not gonna change your state if you're just gonna ignore what is underneath there without looking at it, right? That's why it's very important to actually look at those things and to let them live, to let them pass. Most often than not, if you are feeling very sad, very lonely, these emotions maybe just need to pass through, right? So they can move from the way to open the space for something else instead. If you are not opening the door for them to pass, then they have to remain. And they're gonna be gathering and they're gonna be bubbling under the surface, right? So you need to be able to let them pass. If you don't want them, just open the door and little by little let them pass. Do not force them out. Do not try to force them out. Again, we are back to the word trying. Just let them pass. And then the new emotion will come by. And you can do so with anything and everything, right? So it is very important to be aware of those things, but it is also important to not be a control freak of what is happening, why it's happening, and all that. I'm going to tell you another funny story, actually. When I got into spirituality, I was very excited about it, and I started to be aware of my thoughts, of my feelings, of all of these things, and I realized that I have a lot of negative emotions and essentially negative thoughts. And at the beginning of my journey, that was years and years ago, I thought, oh no, this is very bad. I need to remove this negativity. I cannot speak negatively. I need to only be positive. I cannot talk about the bad things. I only need to talk about the positive things in my life. I cannot complain to nobody. I cannot say how I really feel. And I started really bottling down everything that was going on for me, in the sense of trying to be more positive, but what I ended up doing was just kind of neglecting the truth that was there. And I was just pretending that everything is great and okay when it was not, and instead I was suffering very much. So that is a different side of the spectrum. I don't want you to do that. You need to also let yourself feel those feelings, let yourself talk about those things with someone you trust. And I'm not saying now dwelling on those things, but to be able to move through that, right? Because that's also part of this experience. And it is completely okay, right? Like I said before, what matters for the subconscious mind is your belief and all of those beliefs that are programmed in there. That's what you need to worry about. You shouldn't be worried about it, but that's what you need to work with if you want to change that. Okay, so it is all about uncovering those beliefs. And if you do not know what your beliefs are, I always say to my clients, to people, that it is very simple to actually uncover what your beliefs are. Just look at your reality. Your current reality is going to reflect immediately what you believe about yourself, about the world, about love, about relationships, about money, everything. If you are in a toxic relationship, that is already showing you have some beliefs about relationships that are not supporting you. If you are broke right now, you already know that you have some beliefs about money, about wealth, about prosperity that are not supporting you. So literally, don't get yourself overworked with this. Start with one thing, but start uncovering those beliefs. Start questioning what you believe, why you believe that, and how can you change it? How can you reframe it? How can you set up your reality and your beliefs in order to support you instead of sabotage you, instead of remaining in the situation, instead of this forever trying to change, instead of changing. So let me know what you're gonna stop trying to do and what you're gonna do instead, what you're gonna become instead, what you're gonna choose instead of trying and trying.